Welcome, guys. We'll slowly let you in. We have an amazing panel starting today, and just incredible professionals that are actually, we just talked about it, that are all coming from different backgrounds. Very similar, but very different. And I think this is going to really make all the difference today on the call. So can you just say where you guys calling in from? We have mornings, we have evenings, we have afternoons. So yeah, Sophie, let's start from you.
Yeah, we're
Where's
definitely dispersed in terms of time zone on our front at least, which is great. I am calling in from Vancouver, Canada on the West Coast.
There we go. And we have the East Coast. I'm in Ottawa, in the capital, where, you know, we have a little bit of snow and we're grateful. We don't need more snow. All right. Ivana, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm calling from Belgrade, Serbia. It's 6 p.m. here. It's a bit rainy, and I would love a bit of snow from Ottawa.
Well, wait for January. We're gonna have plenty of that.
It's better than rainy days. Like, trust me, it is.
Awesome. Look,
I'm basically going to copy word for word what Ivana just said. So I do want snow. I'm from Belgrade. I don't like that much of rain. So yeah.
How's it to be back? You spent a couple of months in San Fran. How's it to be back?
Oh, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Different life. So you go out on the street and you don't see all these AI commercials and advertisements, right?
Yes.
You see something else, something that's not AI only, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of refreshing, but the rest of it, it's okay. I guess.
It's actually funny. I also, like 2 months ago, I was in San Mateo, and basically the Bay Area. It's like AI, right? Like, and I'm like, what am I doing? You know, let's ship everything into, you know, let's just make one giant AI, you know, out of LeadDelta. You know, like, well, what are we even doing with this software? Let's make turn everything into a chat. Awesome. Well, guys, as I said, we're going to have a ton of fun today. You're slowly coming in, so I'm going to give you a few more moments as we kicked things off a few moments earlier because we did actually have a lot of fun. And so we wanted you to have a little bit of that atmosphere. So yeah, today Jens sadly won't be able to join us. He is feeling a little bit under the weather, has some travel arrangements too. And I was like, listen, we got your back. So he's a great guy, so we'll probably have him on one-on-one show next year. That being said, this is the last show of the year. I really encourage you to go to leaddelta.com/webinars. We actually do have, I must admit, unintentionally, great guests, very connected topics, and you know, if you just go over all those webinars, you can learn a ton about you know, strategies and plans that you can put in place for the next year, 2024. Perfect. So without further ado, let's slowly but surely kick things off as people are joining in. Today we're going to talk about AI, B2B software, and go-to-market strategies in 2024. So obviously, it's always helpful to have your questions coming in. And so, you know, keep asking away. And as we see the relevance, we'll interrupt and you know, pose your question. Let's keep it as interactive as possible. So that's one of the goals. First things first, let me introduce your guests here. I'll just do a brief introduction for each and every single person, and then I'll just call them out if I missed anything. But we have Sophie. She's just an amazing person, a VP of marketing at GTMfund, very hands-on, very like operating herself and it's not like someone who's just going to talk things. She really walks the way. Very data driven, focused on B2B growth. So any questions related to what you can expect from 2024 and the GTM world and how you can assemble your strategies to really grow, she's the person to ask. She's, as I said, top MarTech voice, and without her permission, I did share her email. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate. Blame it on me. Sophie, did I miss anything?
Not a problem. No, you nailed it. That was perfect. And feel free to reach out if you have any questions about anything we go over today in the session or just generally. That is indeed my email, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Sophie.
Ed.
Super nice having you here. All right, Luka, you had the opportunity to potentially meet Luka Anicin. We joked about it, our Star Wars character in one of the previous webinars. He's a machine learning consultant, very hands-on. He's taught over 500,000 students at Udemy. Just recently taught at the Dell company, basically in front of all the employees. Very interesting guy who did ML before ML was a thing, or AI was a thing, before we had a nice little chat to interact with. So a lot of questions related to the future of technology will direct Luka's way. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me again. And as Sophie said, if you have any questions post the interview, please reach out via email. I'll be really happy to answer.
Luka was part of one of the most active webinars previously. It was a ton of technical stuff, and people still managed to follow and get a ton of value from. So let's try and recreate some of that with a focus on 2024. Ivana, my friend from Autodop, she's the CEO and founder, and I like to call her a queen of LinkedIn content. Her posts are not just viral, but they can actually teach you something related to how you can recreate the success and get the customers that you want on LinkedIn. By the way, I'm rather good at this pitching. You guys can hire me to do this pitching, hey? She's a very numbers driven, and this is something I said for all of our guests today. They're very numbers driven, analytical. So you just take a notebook, take pens, and start noting things down, because there's going to be a lot of valuable stuff. She's very approachable, so you can definitely send her an email and reach out. And definitely, I encourage you to start Autodop trial. There's a ton of value you'll get there. Great product for LinkedIn. Perfect. Myself, briefly, CEO and founder of LeadDelta. One thing I like to say is I like to build winning teams. Even though we're going to be talking about AI a lot, I still believe in the power of people and the cross collaboration. So you can find me at vet@leaddelta.com, LinkedIn, Twitter, and all around the place. And just briefly, what are we trying to achieve at LeadDelta? We keep adding and expanding our markets, and we like to call ourselves the first decentralized plug-and-play multiplayer CRM for your connections, and that is a big difference. We're walking away from deals and organizations, and we're focusing on people. So that got rewarded as we became the #1 SaaS beginning of this year, and we're very grateful for that. Customers keep raving about LeadDelta all over the place. So we definitely invite you to come and check it out. And my marketing made sure we have something special for you guys. So leaddelta.com/end of the year, or EOY. And we're going to be there for you. Perfect. That was a pitch from our sponsor. And what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to be talking about the future of AI in B2B. We're going to be talking about trends besides AI. It has its own section. So we're going to talk about other trends you can expect next year. Go-to-market strategies. Hopefully, we're going to give you some specific tips, something that you can directly implement. And we're going to be talking about exciting new products, tactics, and things we've noticed. And we're going to close it off with your questions. So stay tuned, stay until the end. That's it. No more presentations. You can start looking at my beautiful and smart guests. And with that being said, Ivana, let's kick things off with yourself. Given your success with Autodop, how do you envision AI further integrating into LinkedIn content management? and even other B2B platforms in 2024. What impact does that bring to our user engagement, content strategies? And yeah, give us your expertise.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's a great question. I think that in this year we saw a lot of tools that are trying to add AI into LinkedIn content creation and engagement. So basically, you have two different types of tools that are relatively easy to build, by the way, because they're usually a prompt and then they're getting a post. So the first type of tool is Commenter on LinkedIn, where you're basically using AI wrapper, OpenAI wrapper, to comment on LinkedIn posts in order to get tens or hundreds of comments per day. And the other type of tools are content generation tools, where you have an idea or you don't even have an idea, but the tool is basically giving you LinkedIn content that you can press a button and publish on LinkedIn. And when ChatGPT FOMO started, we saw a lot of content like that on LinkedIn. We also saw a lot of tools that are implementing AI or are building all around OpenAI. However, right now we see a decline of, I would call FOMO, for AI content generation. And in 2024, I expect that tools and people will go more towards AI helping them to be better, empowering them, adjusting their content, providing them insights, metrics, providing personalized tips, rather than writing and generating a ton of text in their name. And right now, we see people that are shouting that, oh, this sounds like an AI comment. This sounds like an AI LinkedIn post. This is so ChatGPT-ish. And that is something that more and more individuals, companies, and whole teams understand. And are right now, even when they are approaching us, they are not trying to plug in AI text generation into Authored Up, which was one of the features that asked us to add, but more personalized tips, benchmarks, metrics, etc., that will help them communicate their voice.
Gotcha. Very cool. And now I'm very excited to ask you the last question for the show, but we'll keep it for the end, which is, we'll get to that. All right. Very cool, Ivana. Thank you for that opener. Sophie, from your vantage point as a MarTech expert, how do you see AI influencing the B2B marketing landscape in 2024, especially when you reflect on personalization, building partnerships?
Oh, immensely. The AI will have more than a bold effect. It will be transformative in 2024, and its impact will be felt essentially, I believe, across all marketing activities or nearly all marketing activities, and really compel B2B marketers to transform the way that they operate and the way that they market. To date, we've really been in this age of efficiency orientation, where everyone's striving for efficiency as a priority. So are we using AI? Check that box. But now in 2024, it's more of a shift towards efficiency orientation being table stakes. Like using it, checking that box is going to become table stakes. The next era is a lot more about efficiency effectiveness. So how are you actually using AI to be more efficient? What are you measuring? So not are you using AI? How are you using AI and how effective is your usage? There's companies that are already measuring this, right? Plenty of them. There's this funny bridge right now. We're in this time where some people have crossed that bridge and that chasm and are measuring and looking at efficiency, effectiveness for AI, whereas others are still trying to figure out how to actually even use AI in more of their day-to-day use cases. So it is that overall broad landscape right now. And as we move towards 2024, we'll continue to see everyone shift towards usage being table stakes. How are you actually using it? For example, companies like Writer, naturally, they're a lot more AI based, but they're measuring things like time to goal, accurate outputs, AI productivity gains. These are all KPIs and they're just normal reporting now.
Very cool. And so do you have specific examples? So would you say that companies like from 0 to 1 are typically just everybody's just trying to be more efficient, and they use it sporadically on their own, like individuals, right? But like, would you say that like companies above that, like Series A, Series B type of companies, are they actually structuring that and adding GPT technologies as part of their process? What you just said, and measuring, like, do you have any specific examples where it fits in the stack, just on top of your head?
Absolutely. It's very mixed right now.
Right.
It's very mixed. So some people are, but I was recently at a CMO meetup, and there was a common narrative that everyone is just trying to figure out how to operationalize it. So
Right.
there's a lot of great usage, great tools being discovered. People are implementing it in their day-to-day a little bit more individualistically or individually. But what we're trying to really figure out is, how do you orchestrate it across your go-to-market teams, across your marketing team, but overall as a team, so it's not just individual. And then how do you orchestrate and actually implement something across everyone while you still iterate and continue to follow the curve? So one technique that is working quite well for folks right now is information sharing. So just having everybody be able to actually share what they're finding for AI, what they're finding useful in their personal day-to-day. So that way, as a group and collective, everyone can understand, does this make sense for us to actually operationalize across our teams or go-to-market motions? So for example, one very tactical way of doing that would be just setting up a Slack channel where everyone can contribute. So you've got that collective think tank around AI implementation for everyone, and you can move towards actually implementing it while you still are gaining that perspective and kind of insight around what's actually moving and changing.
Very cool. I keep thinking, like, I wish I were a fly on that wall, like just listening to CMOs talking about ChatGPT, because like my experience is like that most people are, very shy to talk about it. Like, they don't want to say that they, use ChatGPT to create a post or like to recreate a certain part of their process, even though like, the optimal goal is to be efficient and to do it faster, right? But I mean, we're still very far away from anybody of us like being replaced just immediately by ChatGPT or GPT technologies in general. So I think folks should be more open to talk about this, and if not publicly, then in one-to-one setups, so kind of spread then create the process within a company. Very interesting.
That's an interesting point. Is there's almost like a stigma around using
100%.
ChatGPT or any kind of AI in a sense of, well, is it authentic? But we'll move towards understanding how to use it to actually be able to do more strategic work. So it's in a sense creating more authenticity.
Right. 100%. And Luka, so you've seen all this coming, and I just love how you positioned yourself years ago to be in a spot, and someone that can share his knowledge just in the right time. So what groundbreaking AI capabilities do you believe will be the most influential in shaping B2B space and software development in 2024?
Okay, so before we jump to that part and try to answer that question, I would like to touch upon Sophie's interesting point. Well, yours and Sophie's at the end of the previous question was, I had the opportunity, there was a data science conference a couple of weeks back in Belgrade, and I led actually a panel for AI marketing. I'm not from marketing, but it was kind of a panel to discuss, people from marketing basically discussed how they use it. And then a lot of other executives and their employees were present in the audience. And then the discussion prompted is who is using and whether they are using actually the AI tools in general, not only ChatGPT, to help themselves do their jobs. The feeling in the room, for me at least, and I described it in one post, was if some bodybuilder is trying to explain if they're natural or not. So that was my feeling. Like, it's still like everybody gets the value, but it's not as natural. Like, they're not really open in front of other executives to speak that they are actually helping themselves, which was really interesting for me, because that actually explains where I'm leading with this point is a lot of executives are not educated and they are doing rush decisions on AI. And we saw that through all 2023. One of my clients recently, that I signed recently, before that, he fired 5 developers at beginning of May, because of ChatGPT, because he saw that, hey, this tool can generate my code. Amazing, I don't need my developers anymore. 4 days later, no development team. Of course, production stopped. So that actually speaks more about the executive itself, because it was not educated enough to understand what is actually capable by understanding these tools. I would say the decision was wrong, but not from the wrong place, but from wrong marketing of those tools, what they can and cannot do. So that actually brings to the what is going to happen in 2024, which a lot of companies are now seeing, and AI is there. Everybody will start using it. It's not question if, but how, as Sophie explained. It's in more of a how to explain, how to use the education in the first layer. So before any project, any application in the upcoming years, actually, not only 2024, the education of whole teams, not only executives, will be the sufficient kind of a breakthrough for the teams itself to make good decisions. And that's something that executives will start understanding, because generative AI is just one small part of AI. And a lot of companies will get more and more applications of general machine learning and predictive analytics in 2024 than just generative AI, which is amazing. Not only for marketing standpoint of guys that are doing machine learning, but actually for application benefits of those tools. So for B2B spectrum, generative AI will only be the interface in most cases. Like, yes, we have direct use cases such as search or chatbots or generating images or content in general, but that is an interface. So below that, we will have actually predictable analytics, for example, for sales, for lead generation process. And then on top of that, you will be able to ask in the pure English, for example, on what is going to be priority of reaching out to those people. But behind that is not generative AI, it's pure machine learning. So in 2024, you will see a lot of AutoML models, which helps people solve specific niche problems that are not generative AI, but more niche ground to their business cases. And education will become more prevalent, because that is something that will lead to better decisions. And in recently, like basically two weeks ago, there was a new initiative by Europe, like already implemented, which is AI initiative, which speaks more about those that are jumping into regulating without actually like tasting the water, like checking the water, and just regulating everything in front of them. So you will see a lot of companies even trying, but not succeeding in implementation because of those regulations. So we will have back and forth in those spectrum. And yeah, that is something that will in generally happen in 2024. And a lot of small models and open source models will happen. So not only LLMs, but small models. And on the like kind of a breakthrough initiative, what technologically will B2B happen is they will start implementing their own models, because that will become more and more sufficient in the sense of monetary, like what is the energy efficiency and money efficiency, because right now you can't train fundamental models. Like a couple of people in the world can do that, a couple of companies. So like right now with, for example, Gemini Nano that Google announced a week ago, you will see the trend going to those small bits and pieces that can be really optimized for the business at hand. And now, because of that, business can actually take back the moat of the technological spectrum again, which right now, if you're only building on top of ChatGPT, for example, you can't have. So yeah. I can't hear you.
Yeah, me neither.
I thought it was me. Thank you, Ivana. No, still nothing. So we can continue without him. Let's
for sure. Like, we have questions, we can start answering them. Yeah. This is why it's
well,
good that we got questions in advance.
Yeah. If we want to move forward towards the trends, because I think you made a really good point there, Luka,
You
touching
can
on
continue,
trends
like,
for
while
2024.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Say, at least from the B2B and MarTech landscape for 2024, how marketing is going to be impacted. I mean, like mentioned before, tremendously, but what kind of trends we're going to see are really, at least I predict, counterbalances to AI. So things that cannot be replicated with AI. We're already seeing that with live events and genuine human interaction, which simply cannot be replicated. Maybe one day we'll all be bots on this webinar, but for now, they're genuine human interactions that cannot be replicated. So event-led growth and anything that breeds proximity. So events breed proximity. Proximity creates trust at an expedited rate rather than going through a full drip funnel. So event-led growth, owned audience is another proximity breeding strategy. And then ecosystem-led growth. Again, you're having this kind of proximity. Everything boils down to trust. It's already baked in with that proximity.
And
so those
do you
are
think
overall trends that I foresee on the MarTech side.
Do you think
Sorry,
that,
Luka.
like, yeah, I'm just curious about which I'm agreeing on, like, more personal touch is definitely going to be necessary, like for me at least. But I think for most people that is the same answer. Do you think that online conferences are going to be revived again? Because from some reason that was a trend. Of course, we were forced to do that because of COVID and stuff like that. But recently, like, most people forced to go to some places, and I didn't see any good conference that is happening online. So do you see that same effect happening in the future with online conferences, and if that trend will be revived soon?
If it's content based, I believe. So now you can absorb content and fantastic content online. So going to events is a lot more oriented towards networking with the added benefit of content. Anything that orients towards really good, high quality content, educational, value driven, perspective rich, those are going to be things that are more valuable to absorb online. The grand conference style from an accessibility standpoint may still be viable, even hybrid models to conferences, just the new norm. We're all sitting here in different time zones. Yeah. So it just makes everything so much more accessible for big conferences. But overall, depending on what the strategy is, if you're trying to actually share just overall education at the mass, then online, more conference style is appropriate. If brands are focused on curating trust within a smaller group of ICP, I think we'll see a lot more smaller events popping up that are in person only.
Very cool. Let's see if I'm back. I'm not back.
You
are back.
You are. Yes.
In action.
You guys are awesome. It's just one thing, and I still remember. I usually don't at this point, but like, Luka, one thing you mentioned, I really enjoyed that. Do you think, like, I see a lot of changes coming up into the store of record type of systems where you have all these cumbersome CRMs such as HubSpot, such as Salesforce. Who's ever going to log into these systems anymore when you can actually just ask the system to give you the best leads, the people who visited your website the most, like, well, I mean, whatever, right? Like it'll come to your Slack, it'll come to your email, whatever you want it to be, right? So are these tools going to end up being more like databases than just front face systems and interfaces we're used to interacting with?
In the future, yes. Not in the next couple of years, but let me explain why. From technological standpoint, you can do it tomorrow, probably. I'm not guaranteeing for every single tool. For example, Salesforce, it's so complicated that they don't know how to use it, but like they need consultants to explain you how to use their own tool. Like, okay, so some tools, yes, but you have barrier of entry, which is people. And people don't like that fast of a change. And we saw that this year. Like, so AI was for 50 years here. it is not that AI didn't exist, but people were introduced to the term for the first time in 2022 when ChatGPT was basically marketed so much that everybody needed to understand at least what it is. And then on top of that, you have so many projects, I can't call them startups, that build on top of it, which creates a noise of having a lot of there, but actually in the reality, it's just another tool on top of ChatGPT. So you have like thousands of those tools that inherently solves the same problem in a different way. So that actually creates that noise, and that created a lot of noise for people that are kind of resilient to change, which are younger population in this case. Imagine what that does to older generation that are not used to that big of a change. So if you start changing that fast the interface of those tools, you will have exactly that. You will have the pushback of those people and say, oh, don't take my job. Like, dude, please, I'm an accountant. I love to do this. Or I'm a salesperson. I need to go to my CRM. So you will have the options.
But it's interesting. It's interesting at this point. One thing is, why they couldn't replace LinkedIn per se is because the boss and the budget holder is still on LinkedIn. It's like you can have social media being generated, and youngsters will drive it, etc. But like you still don't have the budget holder. He's still on LinkedIn or she's still on LinkedIn, right? So so that's one other thing that correlates with what you just said. Related to how people get accustomed to new technologies and how flexible are we all. Very interesting. I could drill down on this even more, but I have one. What do you think? Even like of those trends we just mentioned, and Sophie talked about, what will significantly impact content management? And you can think of it from an individual's perspective and from the company's perspective too.
Yeah, well, relationships, real relationships with people and with the community. So that's why in this year, like in the past 2 months, we got more inquiries for corporate influence programs than in a year and a half before. So companies are seeing LinkedIn because it is a B2B platform. At the end, even though you can do corporate influence or ambassadors programs everywhere else on any social media, LinkedIn is the place to go if you are into B2B. But they are getting there and they're basically saying, look at this, I have my employees, not only salespeople, I have developers, I have HRs, everyone, and they have a knowledge. And we want to communicate that we are knowledgeable, that we have insights, that we are tracking trends, that we are doing our job the best. And other ways to communicate that, like developing reports, ebooks, gated content, a ton of SEO right now, obviously combined with tech generation, with AI, is not performing so great. And they want to get into relationships. They understand dark funnel is not a great a term, I think, but they understand that there are so many ways that how your client, your potential lead is checking you, and that it is going through the LinkedIn and checking what you are doing, what employees are doing, how active are they, how proud are they. And that's when they decide or don't decide to go in the next step of the sales process. So we see that a lot, and we see word of mouth. So if you can support word of mouth through referrals or through basically networking, organic, sharing content, not sharing content, sharing knowledge, educating based on your insights, your data, and your practice. So how I am doing something is something that I see that will happen even more in 2024, and companies see it, not only individuals.
Gotcha. Very cool. And we have one specific question now that we're on the topic of marketing. It's a question for everybody pretty much. So when we talk about content, we've seen a lot of folks generating blogs using AI. So did you see that work anywhere, but for real? Because from our experience, we've analyzed a whole bunch of these websites and blogs, and we can see that Google started kind of penalizing it in search. So what's your experience with that? Have you seen anybody deploy that successfully? Sophie, let's start with you.
I haven't seen anyone deploy it successfully without human interaction. So AI assisted blogs, certainly where there's that injection of human into it. There's a personality, you can hear and understand the brand tone within the blog itself still, but I haven't actually seen anyone simply leverage AI without adding that manual part to it and have success with it. I don't know if Ivana, Luka, if you guys have seen anything different on your ends.
I have a back questions for all three of you. Do you know what is the daily limit of how many books you can upload to Amazon store?
No.
I don't know.
Have a guess. Have a guess.
Say
The
that again.
daily limit?
How many
daily limit? So
Yeah.
how many books you can upload to sell on Amazon store today?
You as one person or like everyone together can upload?
Oh, as one account.
One account,
One
right?
account can upload.
Yeah.
Like 100, like
20?
10?
10.
Sorry?
I wouldn't
Okay.
let them more than 10.
Okay. You,
Yes.
Sophie?
20?
20. Okay. So they limited it 2 months ago, at least about 2 months ago, to 2,000 books per day. So they
Wow.
didn't have the limit. They didn't have the limit, but then somebody broke that amount by using AI.
Right.
And they generated crazy amount of, I can't call them stupid books. It was just a couple of pages per, like, okay, this is a recipe for this is whatever,
Right.
do this exercise and stuff like that. 2,000 books per day. Now, there is a now definition of what we
What's the
consider
sales
a
number?
book. Sorry?
How many dollars? What's the bottom line?
So
Frank's
those
special?
agencies are making crazy amounts of money. Like one of those books is like 90 cents, $1. What is the minimum amount of like Amazon right now? So it is not crazy amount of dollars. Like it's not $30, it's $2 max. But you have 2,000 of them per day. So it means that like in a week or in 10 days they would have 20,000 books. So if some of those have bad reviews, they would just remove them. They don't really care. If they sell one book, they would make about like $2,000 per day.
Right.
So those, it's not blogs. I didn't see the company that actually built a brand on top of generated blogs, but I did see companies that have generated educational materials based on AI. But as Sophie said, it's not completely automated. You still have some curation happening on top of that. You're not exporting anything out there. But in these cases where AI agencies, whatever we call them, generation agencies for books, they don't have human in the loop. They're just generating crazy amounts of content that is sometimes even as long as a one blog, but they're calling it a book. So Amazon needed to stop that.
Yeah, but there is a definition of a book, right? If it is like a few pages, like, okay.
It's a booklet. We can call it whatever, but like in Amazon's eyes, that is a product. So one product can be for them at least $1, and there are 2,000 of those whatever booklets, as we call them, per day.
Right. So there you go, guys. So if you always wanted to be like a single person entrepreneur, you can start with like 2,000 books a day or whatever. However, it's about on Amazon. Give it a shot.
I would say don't do that, but people are making money out of it. So depending what you maximize, morality of money. So it's on you.
Like, don't do it. Okay.
Don't do that.
We heard it. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. Well, let's shift gears. Sophie, so give us, you talk to many great founders, GTM leaders, you're a part of different mastermind groups. Can you just, share with us your insights, like when people enter planning for 2024, and God knows many people went sabbatical for the next couple of weeks, and they'll come out with new ideas and this and that. What keeps up at night these founders, and what are they pretty much betting on in 2024?
Many things. Many things I'd say keep our founders up at night, predominantly around go-to-market and overall deal acquisition. Fundraising right now is another one. That's a little bit of a shift and digression from the go-to-market side, but that's definitely a factor keeping founders up at night right now, just the discrepancy of fundraising because we've had such a shift in the economy and valuations have shifted. But overall, if we think about the go-to-market side, deal complexity is one that we hear a ton. We know, sales cycles are taking longer. There's more stakeholders involved. And part of that comes down to the economy side. If you can't justify purchase anymore based on having an ROI positive outcome. At the end of the day, you're taking that funding from somebody else's budget, whether it's status quo implementation, whatever they are using right now, or another kind of incumbent, it's somebody's budget. So deal complexity is a big one. And with that comes decisions on how to spend money internally too. So where they're deploying, whether it's headcount, whether that's MarTech, what have you, where to actually spend the dollars. Bets on 2024. Overall, ways to extend runway. Just overall, that way it gives everybody a little bit more buffer zone. And then the other big one I would say is prioritizing efficiency and headcount. Gotcha. So understanding what is somebody's maximum before we go hire somebody else. And it's a very careful consideration because it's evolving immensely with lots of new AI technology. So the capacity that each headcount, each FTE has is shifting based on all these different new technologies, giving us more bandwidth internally and personal bandwidth. So those are the two ones that we're seeing on the forefront of bets for 2024, overall, just extending runway and then really maximizing each FTE and headcounts usage and ability before looking to go higher externally.
So no more CAC to LTV ratios. Nobody cares about that anymore. It's all about how much money are we generating per person. Okay, interesting.
A little bit different. I don't know, Ben. What do you think? What are you betting on for 2024? What keeps you up at night?
That's a good one. So many things, but in our case, now that you asked me, LeadDelta towards the end of the month is profitable. So we started making changes beginning of the year. And so for us, we managed to extend the runway to many months, and maybe even too many, considering the investments then we would need to think and make. So on that front, we're good. To be honest, like what really keeps us awake at night is like the shift in the technological space. Like, do you stay focused on a couple of use cases and you do them really well, or can you actually bet on creating a platform, because again, the vision behind LeadDelta and the problem we want to solve is massive, right? And it's not a simple problem. It's not like you can throw money at the problem and be like, oh, just hire great many more engineers and get this done, right? It's not how it works. So for me personally, the next couple of months will be all about a product. Because we did the hard work of actually putting ourselves in the right position to capitalize in next year, and not worry about money, right, and funding. So that's kind of how we think about it. But but it's very interesting to hear. Financial dashboards dramatically changed. Initially we were, as I said, we were really tracking, how much are we spending per customer, the churn and all of that. Now we're actually focusing on the enterprise clients, and our definition of the enterprise clients changed dramatically. So from this customer bought 10 seats or 20 seats, they're enterprise. But we changed that now from there's a single person from a 10,000 people enterprise company, that's enterprise. Let's go after the land and expand, right? Because it costs you almost nothing to harvest what you already have. So those are kind of the things that we'll be leveraging next year, and it's all going to be through referrals and personal connections, which is what we advocate. So hope that was useful to folks. Awesome. As well, so even on your side, when you look at go-to-market strategies, and I know you want to go up market, what's going to be crucial for you and LeadDelta in 2024? How do you see go-to-market evolving?
Yeah, so we from the beginning we were bootstrapping, and like from the moment when we started to charge, we were profitable. So on our side, we are first of all thinking how much we should scale the team. And also we have 3 different use cases. So we are for individuals, we are for corporate influencers, so companies that are empowering their employees, tens of even hundreds of employees to create content on LinkedIn. And then we also have marketing agencies that are extremely interested into the product, but they need different types of processes, etc. So for us, it's also about picking, do we need to pick a side right now, or we can just keep developing like this and then see and maybe separate 2 different product teams. So that's one thing. And regarding the trends in 2024, I believe that there will be more expectations from an employee, from every employee. So that because like interest rates are high, we also see that inflation is also pretty high. The labor market is okay-ish, depends on the region and also on the industry. Like recruiters, they are really feeling the pain, HR industry. So there are different industries that are more under pressure, and so expectations from each employee plus AI or machine learning models means that we'll see more pressure on every single employee, higher KPIs, higher metrics that they need to deliver on a product team as well. So that's something that I see as a trend. We already are pushing ourselves probably too much. So we'll probably need to take a few days off. But that's basically what I see. On one side, employees, higher metrics and KPIs that they need to meet on one side, and on outer upside is basically how much should we scale and how many marketing channels we need, because we have one that works very well. So should we do another one and then another one, or we should just focus on the one?
Or just open up new markets. Well, that's so very, very similar points, right? Do you stay a point solution or do you go multi-product? And it's funny, like I'll purposely not name the company, but like we have a very successful like unicorn style point solution company in sales tech, one of my previous competitors at the enterprise level. The problem is like, you cannot raise favorably anymore. You cannot go IPO. You cannot get acquired because you're too big. And so what the hell do you do, right? And I feel that a lot of these companies are now really struggling. What the next thing is, like, do you go multi-product? And if you do, like, what's the impact of AI? Because again, it's dramatically going to change things. I keep saying, let me just go before Luka, you keep thinking about the GTM and how you can implement, and I'll just go completely the other way with this. So think about like what's going on with Elon Musk and the companies around him, right? One of the things that they're developing is like, to put simply, right, like a hardware in our head, in humans, right? And there are too many things that can go wrong, meaning that he can get rejected to mass produce the technology, etc. So that's one way to look at it. But what if that's around the corner? What if 2025, 2026 is bringing that, right? And I was tweeting back and forth with the founder of Reflect Notes, and he's literally planning the end of his product when you can actually keep all the notes in your head, right? Like this is the end, game over. Like not IPO, but like that's the game over for him. And until then, he'll act as your second brain, which is, I mean, it's just very interesting. And I think when you get stuck in microcosmos, like I think it's useful to just branch out and go wild, like with big ideas like this. The scary part to me is like that might be right around the corner. And so how do you adjust, right? Are you going to be the leader and you're just going to get the implant, or are you going to be the laggard and be like, the person with Nokia in like, 15, So that's, I think, it's a big bold question, but with that being said, Luka, back to reality. So from a technical standpoint, how should B2B companies, not just like, LeadDelta and AuthorDoc, but like even like, serious, CD companies, like how can they leverage AI and data analytics in their go-to-market strategies for next year? How can they actually put that in the process, what Sophie was talking about?
I'll jump to that in a second. I just want to touch a point of this monologue that you had
Of course.
couple of seconds ago.
I knew it.
So I do see that kind of a struggle in all of us. Like even if you're a one-man show, especially if you're one-man show, you don't have somebody's like a shoulder to cry on if that happens. But I had like interesting discussions, and so you have those big companies such as OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, like all those giants. Those are working in a fundamental level. That is $1 trillion industry. Fundamental AI is $1 trillion industry. They are not really interested in branching off to specific niche problems because that is not their business model. They can create like use case, but it's not going to be scalable and as somebody who is dedicated their like specific technology for that. And now before the whole craze, like when I worked for Photomat, and you had like a different types of AI companies. And back then and right now it's a rarely the case where company is AI company. Like if you are building a use case around an AI, around like, for example, I have an AI, PDF AI, that is a pure AI company, that the whole core logic of the business is AI. If that changes, the business is doomed. But we are blinded by so many of those that are marketed to us, but actually that is a really small percentage of companies these days. Okay, so the biggest value in next years to come are companies that have their business that will be improved by AI. So yes, if the AI changes that particular part of it, who cares? Like there are actually businesses, the core business model is completely different. The AI is mostly the tool. So in most cases, 90% of the businesses, AI will be tool, not the solution. In that 10% or 5%, depending how we look, AI will be the solution. And that is the dangerous zone, because that can be easily changed, and unpredictable because that is the market right now. But if you are having a business for anything like, I don't know, cleaning the houses, you can use AI to find clients right now, to do lead generation. And if a new tool comes to do better lead generation, your business model is there. Like it's just a tool that's solving a specific problem in your company, not the whole business model that you are building around. And if you are building your business and your scale, of course somebody will come, no matter the technology around it. And that will lead to the next point, like how to build a go-to-market strategies in the next year. I would say that before jumping to any AI opportunity in the next years to come, because of the so unpredictable market, do the strategic planning first and think about how you use actually data. And everything comes and ends with your data. Data will become your asset. So people are not considering data as an asset. That is the core asset as your technology that you're building. Data should and will be your asset. And think about, like, will you just burn money if you just had it on a pile? No, but why are you deleting the data? So many companies are deleting the data because I won't need it. And suddenly they need the data. So think about that as a pressure asset that will distinguish your business from the competitor. And then when you start with that moment on, start from a strategic standpoint and start doing AI opportunity mapping. You can call it like that, or data strategy, AI strategy, whatever that means, which will educate you the whole what you can do with data. And think about processes, what you have in a company. Like when you're hiring an employee, what is the process of job ads to hiring an employee to the onboarding and keeping that employee in the company? So there are many stages in that process. If you look at the process as a whole and break it down to the steps, every single piece can be implemented and improved with AI.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So basically, like a note to take home from this one, basically, just pull up a Miro board or whatever you have, physical whiteboard and just note down all your processes and see what can we improve with AI.
Exactly.
You know, even if you don't recall a product that can solve a certain pain, like just think about it for a second. Like, can it be solved with AI? And then go look for a solution. That's a good one. All right, guys. So like let's the last couple of questions. I just want you to think of the exciting technologies that that basically you think you want to share with the audience. And it can be a technology that will mark 2024. It can be just something tiny that you're excited about. Ivana, so what are you excited about moving into 2024? Any interesting products you're interested you're just you want to share with us? And what are the plans with Authored Up and AI?
Yeah, so okay, I'll first go with what is going on with Authored Up because it's super related to what Luka said and Sophie mentioned. So first of all, we are going towards ML models rather than AI models. Regarding data, we have a lot of data, and from the day one, we started to collect a lot of content data, LinkedIn posts, and all metrics and stats that are relevant to the post, so we can understand and map what works, what doesn't. And again, not doing it by just putting a table into ChatGPT and then asking like, what is going on here? But rather like defining different clusters that are then helping us to understand the behavior of different types of profiles and company pages, and then combining that with their data. So one of the first features that is coming is the best time and the best date to post for you. And it will be defined by a machine learning model that is first, we cluster those profiles, then we build a model. Obviously not me, we have a machine learning expert in the team. And then based on all your posts, and usually you have in Authored Up hundreds of posts, their performance, when they were posted, what type, etc., we are providing you insights. So that is how we plan to build Authored Up in 2024. And as Luka mentioned, it won't be like an AI tool ever, but it will be supported by machine learning, usually, and not that much AI. And also we are going towards more open source models for AI rather than OpenAI, because we cannot depend on one platform. And whenever OpenAI tweaks something or decides that the price is not right, they will increase it. That influences our whole business. So we plan to develop different, right now, smaller features that will personalize tips for our customers. And that's what we plan to do in the next year. And regarding the tools that I'm passionate about, I really want to see how, first of all, I'm not passionate about OpenAI wrappers. So any tool that is basically having a ton of prompts plus some process and talks to ChatGPT or GPT-4 and then gives me some output. Like, it's not something that I'm super excited about. I'm more excited about the ways how tools that I'm right now using are going to implement elements of AI/ML to help me be more efficient. So I'm using, for example, ClickUp. I really want to see, like, ClickUp already has some features. Like, I want to see how Grammarly is going to do it. I want to see how tools that I'm right now, I want to see how LeadDelta is doing it, right? So how they are going to, so tools and the platforms that I'm already using are going to implement all of that, because I think that they see a huge potential in add-ons, at least, and different pricing models if they add some kind of a personalization, tips, insights, metrics, projections to me as a customer.
Interesting. So basically what you already are using, like, you're not looking to necessarily expand. Perfect. Sophie's just back in time. We're having an audio issues today, but hey, it's the end of the year. Like, even Zoom is tired, like it's that's what's going on. Sophie, are you back? Can I pose the same question to you?
I sure am. Yes. Apologies for that.
So what are you excited about? Like, what tools? And by the way, guys, we're slowly wrapping up. So quickly, what interesting tools are you excited about moving into 2024?
Excited for a lot of tools overall, particularly around the content side. So I know one of Gartner's predictions for 2024 is by 2026, 80% of creative talent will actually use Gen AI daily, allowing for a lot more strategic work, resulting in increased spending on creative. And that way we can also shift towards a lot more strategic work. So I'm really excited about the different tool developments and feature developments around content. But I will caveat with, I am pretty bullish on implementation, and it relates to something that both Luka and Ivana have actually touched on. So Luka, you mentioned that inherently a lot of tools are actually solving the same problem. So really focusing on for go-to-market, rather than, it's good to understand all the different new tools coming out, but ensuring that you're actually implementing and using something. You can always build on it, but implement it in your go-to-market. That way you're getting that benefit. It's very easy to get distracted by, the next shiny new tool, if you will. But if you're not using it, you're not getting that benefit. So very bullish on that. And then, Ivana, you actually mentioned just before this, before I lost my audio, I did catch it, that you're excited about tools that you're using right now implementing AI. So I would also build on that and say, not only am I excited by new tools, I'm actually really excited by the tools that I already enjoy and use, continuing to advance their AI capabilities.
Very cool. Luka, that leaves us with you. Let's wrap it up.
I'm not excited at all. No, I'm joking. So I would be politically correct. I'm the mostly excited about the success of my clients and to have the even the better year next year. This was amazing year for all of my clients. I don't really want to say numbers what they generated in this year, but I want to be at least double next year. So I'm really excited about them and about all the new clients that will come my way. So a lot on my plate currently planning for next year, and that is something that I'm mostly excited day by day. That wakes me up and makes me happy when I go to sleep. And one tool that I will mention today, which is kind of a I actually figured out about the tool a couple of days ago, thanks to my friend. I really love it, which is I always forget the script.
No, we're fine.
The script AI. So I don't know if you know that tool, but so I think that is one of the best integrations of AI, generative AI, that I've seen so far. So basically, it is for editing purposes, and I edit all the time. I'm not the perfect editor, and this is crazy great. You upload your video, and you basically get a script. You edit the script, and it edits the video. So that's crazy. So I love it, and I would say that I'm really excited where that tool goes in the next year. Yeah.
Perfect. Shout out to Ogi. I know we use it internally for the same purpose. So there you go. Awesome. Well, guys, I have to, like I promised folks at the beginning. So what is one thing that you yourself maybe are embarrassed to share, but where you are utilizing AI to actually help you do your work? I'll go first. When I'm preparing the webinars, the initial description of the webinar, I just have a crazy good prompt that just gives me the best of the best preparation for each and every webinar. So, and then I reuse that for LinkedIn post and for Twitter post. It just saves me a ton of time. So there you go. That's mine. Sophie?
I love that. I love that. Very clever. Mine, less of a repurposing, but I would say if you said embarrassing, is I run anything external through a spell check. So any newsletters, anything that is going out, any of our LP updates, running them all through multiple spell checks, grammar checks, utilizing different AI products, like multiple products.
Like multiple. Awesome.
Multiple.
Luka?
I have the answer. So whenever somebody asks me to provide a biography about me for a conference and stuff like that, I'm really bored to write it myself. So I just ask ChatGPT or whatever tool to generate it for me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Works nicely. Ivana?
I use it to critique my LinkedIn posts and to say what is wrong and what needs to be improved and where I'm too fluff or salesy, or I'm using some jargon, or where do I need an example, etc. So basically, tell me where I'm wrong. That is what I'm asking, and I have this big prompt for that.
Yeah, you're gonna have more time to prepare. This is not embarrassing. This is smart.
This is really smart.
This is smart. Awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining today. I know it's the end of the year for all of us and for the audience. but I promise we'll repurpose this video. More people will get to see it in this year and next. So again, thank you so much. Wishing you happy holidays, lots of love and self-reflection, and a lot of actions in 2024. So that's it. See you around.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye. Thank you.